In this episode of Do You Know, okay, we're going to focus on adding and subtracting algebraic fractions. But before we focus on doing that, I first want to show you that in the O-levels or N-levels, okay, algebraic fractions, when we have to simplify them, there are actually three cases. Okay, one, when we are only given a single fraction and we have to simplify. Another one, we are given two fractions, but we are expected to either multiply or divide them. And last, when we are given two fractions and we have to add or subtract them. Today we focus on questions that appear like this. Okay? So, if I have to plus or minus two algebraic fractions, remember, in any addition or subtraction of fractions, okay, we always must make the denominators the same. Okay, and today we're going to show you how to do that, okay, when they are algebraic fractions. Now, the steps are listed here. I'm going to go through step by step, okay, and demonstrate using this example. So, these are the two algebraic fractions given to us, and we're expected to subtract one from the other. Okay, step 1. Factorize the denominators of both fractions. If you look at this first fraction here, this denominator can be factorized simply by taking out the common factor 2. Now, you look at the second fraction. This expression here cannot be factorized further, so we will just leave it as it is. We have done step 1. Step 2. We have to choose a common denominator for both. Okay? And now we see why doing step 1 actually helps us. Because when we do step 1, we observe that this is actually the denominator in the first fraction, and it looks very much like this denominator here. Okay? A good common denominator to choose would be 2 times x plus 2 for both. Okay? So we choose that to be the common denominator for both fractions. However, since this is the denominator we want, there's nothing we have to do for this particular fraction. It stays the same. Then we have to do step 3, which is to change. Sorry, we have not completed with step 2. We have chosen the common denominator. We have to make this the same denominator as this. If you observe carefully, this x plus 2 can become this if we multiply the denominator by 2. Okay? That is step 2. But we must remember, whenever we multiply the denominator by something, we must do step 3. Whatever is done there must be done to the numerator as well. So since we multiply by 2 to the denominator, in the numerator we also multiply by 2. So what do we have for the second fraction? This. Alright? So, we have done the first 3 steps. Finally, because they have the same denominators, we can proceed to combine the fractions. So, numerator minus numerator, since the denominators are the same. Step 4 is done. We can simplify it further, because in the numerator, 3 minus 8 is negative 5. And we are done. Alright, so please remember, today we have shown you how to add and subtract algebraic fractions. It's a standard 5 steps. We have to make a common denominator, but instead of rushing into it, we choose to first do some factorization of the denominators to help us better identify a common denominator to choose.